Hi, my name's Margaret. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm the creator of card reading. Now, I'm hoping this is the last one of Tyrrell, William Tyrrell, who went missing in 2014. This is number 7. Just to give you a heads up about this, some of this is old stuff, like I said. There will be stuff that you won't agree with me on. What was the other thing is, and I do have some theories with this, and I don't. So, saying that, I just feel that yeah, you need to know these things. So if you look at it and think, I don't agree with her, it's okay. It's fine. But there are things. It is old, and there are stuff coming through with William, in the sense they're doing a kind of court thing, and that's going in March. So in about a month's time, there'll be more information related to William's case. So yeah, let's start with this. Now I'm going to go into the car situation. So with the car, from what I get it, there's 4. I could be wrong here, it could be 4. A white one, a grey one, a blue one, and a green one. The grey and the blue one was in front of the foster grandmother's house, the grey and the white one. From what I get it, it's only been there about an hour, between 9:30 and 10:30, because the mother saw, actually probably earlier, sorry, because as we all know, the mother helped William get dressed, and they had a little, I'm going to call it disagreement. It's not quite a disagreement, but I'm going to call it a disagreement where William didn't want to wear something underneath his top, and the deal was he wears the Spider-Man top with a Spider-Man like skippy underneath it. That was a theory. Now before they had a talk about this, she went outside and she saw the cars, the foster mum, and then she came in, got ready with the family to do whatever they're doing. So it would have been about, I'm not 100% how long. Well, because from what I get it, the foster dad didn't see the cars, but the foster mum and the grandmother saw the cars. So it could be from 7:30 to 10 o'clock, or from 9 o'clock to 10:30. I'm not quite sure. But like I said, the grandmother and the mother saw the cars. But the thing with the cars, once we went, the cars they didn't see. It was the 4 we left. And the other thing with this grey and white car, and it might be not a big deal, it just made me think when this lady said it. As she said, no, the road is a dead end, it's a drive. So it went into a park or something, the dead end did, and the car was facing towards that, the 2 cars. As I see it, if I was going to kidnap someone like William, I would want to get out quickly, yeah? So it's really weird that a person would face towards the opposite way. They're going to can't go out again. I just found that really weird in between the 2 driveways. I just found that really weird, because from what I get it, probably the grandmother's house was on the opposite way the cars were. So I found it really weird, because you would have thought the cars would be closer to the house if the cars were connected to William, closer to the house, so they can come in, get William, put him in the car and go. That's what I would have done anyway. So to me that makes no sense. And the other thing with the cars, like I said, it's only the grandmother and the mother saw the cars, and I found that really weird. But saying that, there's a guy, I don't know if he's on the same road or a neighbour or whatever, but he was waiting for a parcel, as you all know. It was like think it was 9:45, maybe a bit later, he heard a white car come by with a lady in the car with kind of orangey blondish hair, up in a bun with a white t-shirt on. Behind her seat there was a young boy. It looked exactly like Williams. His hands was up on the window like this, and he saw his face. He said William didn't look upset or anything. He was more shocked that William wasn't put in a seatbelt. He was a bit weird. It was a bit weird for him, and I must admit, if I saw that, I thought, driving fast and a child's not in a seatbelt, you bloody idiot. That's what I would think. So that's okay. But then they go off. He sees this car go off, and then he sees another car. Now, this is where I get a bit confused. Now, there's rumours that it's green, blue, or grey. I'm not quite sure. That's why I'm putting it out there as a forecasting. So I find that really interesting. And on top of that, I find it interesting, like the lady said, yes, it's good to wait for your turn so the police to come see you. To me, I would wait a day, yeah. Then if the police didn't come to see me, I'll probably highly think about going to the police about this, because this is a big deal. Now, at the end of the day, you see the news and you see William on it, you think, yeah, that's the boy I saw. You will think about it. I will highly think about it. In that night, I might think, do I ring the police? Or what I did, and this is a completely different story, where I'm at a street. I went for a walk. It's in the country, it's in Bendigo. And I saw this car. It had no handles, there was sticker tape on it, a hole in the car, food everywhere, and it just looked odd. And I thought to myself, should I report this to the police? And I thought to myself, I'm going to call him George, he probably doesn't want me to say his name. And I said, wait till George come home. It's my neighbour. And I said, wait till George come home and see what George thinks. So I come home and George's there, so I go and knock on his door and tell him what I saw. And George said, look, it's no harm to ring the police. And that's what I did. And that was like in less than half an hour I did that. And I'm amazed, I'm the same with this lady who said it. I'm a bit amazed that he did think this way. Give it a time and let's see what happens. He might have did what I did, talk to someone about it. I wouldn't have done it that morning, like you said, because he didn't know when he went missing. That makes sense. So if you don't know, you're not going to think about it. You just see this crazy lady didn't put her child in a seatbelt. That's all you're thinking about it at that time. To that night, you really see the news. And I thought that's quite interesting. But the thing with this too, once the guy went to the police about this sighting of a car with a lady and a child in the car, it took a police a year to get in and question him about it. And I thought that's really weird. A year, it's someone who looks exactly like William. Doesn't matter who the lady was at this stage, but it was someone exactly looked like William, and it's exactly the boy that you're looking for. And I thought that was weird. And I get it, like there's another one in this where a lady saw a man folded hands, his hands been folded at the site where they're searching for William. And she thought he was a bit odd, fishy. She didn't like something about him, and she reported him. Now, the thing about this lady and this man that saw the boy and the lady, she didn't know anything about this guy. And that's different. I get that, where a police might think, this might not be nothing in that way. But when you see someone that looks exactly like a person you're looking for, you really should look into it. Yeah, so that's my thing with that, with the white car. So yeah, I'm gonna pass that on to you. And there was another one, a person, I think it was a green car, I could be wrong here. So a car driving up the road did a U-turn and come back. That might not be nothing, but everyone's looking to this green car, so I'll pass this one on to you guys. So that's another thing with these cars. I'm talking about all the cars right now, so that's interesting. And the guy who saw the lady in the car was 100% it was William. It wasn't like he had to think about it. He knew it was William. So that's interesting. But going today, when I watched this news about William being on the news that night, it kind of reminds me of, again, Medicine McCamey. A guy saw the guy carrying a child, and he didn't see the face, but as soon as he saw the news that night with Medicine's dad carrying one of the children, he thought, that's him. Now that to me looks the same, and like I said in the last YouTube channel, I am a bit worried about people copying things. Is it useful for the case or not? Yeah, so that's a concern for me in that sense. So yeah, that's another thing. And as you all know, I've been told, and it kind of makes sense, because there's only about 5 houses on this road, on this street, on the 2 streets near the house. And unless you're a friend or a relative, you really don't need to go up there, unless it's a shorter place to get to the guy, I can't say the guy, where the person passed and you buried him. I know it sounds rude, but I just can't say this word today. Unless you go and see that person, and that person's up near that area, I don't see why you do need to be there. Unless you want to go for a bushwalk, so that's something I would do. Like, I've been to places and I find the oddest areas and I go, oh, country area, I'll go for a walk. Unless they're doing something like that, but you think the person will be closer to the path, not halfway near the path at the end of the road. You think they'd be closer to the path. So that's another thing I thought it's interesting. So by 10:30, the car was gone. I say by 10:30 because the foster mum and the grandmother doesn't know when the car left. They just know 1 minute was there, the next minute wasn't there. So that's another thing. The other car, there's a third car. There's a wagon. I think it's a wagon car with, I think it's Tony Johnson who owns the car. The one I said last time. It's kind of, some reason I'm getting Anthony with this, but then I go on YouTube too. He owned a car. It was a white wagon. Well, his sister owns the car that I've shared it. And it was, the wife, it could be the wife, it could be the wife or the sister, I'm not quite sure in this situation, was the share with the next door neighbour. And that's okay. And what happened, something must have happened on the way, because they checked this car, and that's okay. Then, a year or two later, I'm not quite sure how far ahead it was, they saw a car in the bush. It was the same brand and the same make of this car. It was turned over and burnt. I don't know if it was the same colour. They don't say much about the colour, but that was interesting in itself. So it might be the same car, who knows. And I would love to know how that car got there, actually. Is it, because like I said, with Tony Jones, I really feel he has issues with his sister. Just from watching the YouTube thing, I just feel like she has an issue with him. So saying that, it could be someone just planning something on him. I mean, I know it's just a thought I have, and I have seen people planning things on people, and it hasn't been this big. It can just be a minor thing. Like I know, yeah, people planning things on people. So I thought that was interesting too. The other thing is Bruce Spencer. He has a white truck van, sorry, a white van, and the police found a Spider-Man toy in it. Now, with this toy, had the van was the same, similar making of this car that's on the road. With this toy, he said it's related to his grandchildren. But the police are home pinning it, saying it's Williams. Like I said, I'm not blaming or anything, but it's quite interesting how it works. So yeah, that's how I see it with that one. What else am I seeing? How things related to the car. No, with the sighting of William in the car, the second car, the guy didn't see a male in it. Oh, a male or female, so he doesn't know who was in the second car. The other thing with the car, there's a person out there. He talked to someone about this, and I actually don't see what the issue with this is. He turned to a friend of his and he said, "Don't tell anyone, but I saw someone driving, a lady or a man driving a car with his left hand holding something down under the seat, driving." Like, to me, that's not an issue. I don't know why it's a big issue with it. Has they went to the court and they said, "Oh, I didn't do that. It was someone holding a phone, holding it up so they can get a better a section, like a better the phone will be working easier." And to me, I don't know why it's a big deal. Like, honestly, unless you yourself who saw this situation was doing something wrong, I don't know why you have to turn around and say one thing and say something else. Like I said, unless you're doing something wrong, I don't see the problem with it, yeah? And I thought that's interesting in itself. So from that, I think that was it. Yeah, so that's about the forecast, and I think from what I get with the forecast, there's certain things that people are getting mixed up, like the colour of the car. So I actually think there's only 3 cars. I think they get mixed up with the blue and the green car, and there's a white and grey car. That's my opinion, but yeah. So just when you watch the YouTube stuff, you know what I mean. So that's that. The witness stuff and the other stuff. Now this is how people interested stuff, and I'm gonna put the DHS into this one. So the first one is, like I said, the 2 cars at the foster care house. The police didn't see it for a year later. I found that really interesting. So now, if I can remember, in 2014, on the 20th, there was a couple at the caravan park with a child, with crying their little hearts out. I don't know why. And there was from the 20th to the 9th. Now, this might not be a thing, because how I look at this, and I'll put this in here, because how I look at this, we went missing on the 12th. So for me, from the 12th to the 20th, if this was the case that William was there, where was him at the other 8 days? To me, that makes no sense. So for me, I don't think this is a fact. I feel like someone just put this in because it made no sense. That what would you do? You 2 of you, you're wherever for 8 days. That makes no sense. Unless you have another place to go to, it does not make sense. The other thing I just thought about it then, maybe they were in the back house of the foster parents' house, the vacant one, for 8 days, and the person came back, so they took William into a caravan park. That might have happened. That would make sense, but who knows? That's just a theory I just had. It's not facts. It's just a theory I just had then. So yeah, so that's interesting. I thought. Now there's a story out there that a tree had a message on it. A lady to William. I can't remember what it said, but underneath this message was a little thing looked like a cup, and it had something in it. And what I've been told on YouTube is it's this thing that's like, you know how you can, like, we sell like in home ping areas? This is kind of like that, but in a game. Like you have your Pokemon game on YouTube. I mean on your internet, on your phone, and you use your internet. You have to look for your Pokemon. It's kind of like that, but it's very visualized. And another thing with this car, from what I get from this guy, John, what was in it is quite dangerous. It's kind of like a landmark. You have to look for things, but these things are quite dangerous. And I don't know much about it, but what he said, one didn't link to the other. They think it was a host, but who knows? And I thought that was interesting, because you just don't know these days. You hear stories out there that people do ransom notes. So yeah, who knows? So the other thing is, like I said, Kim knows the sex offenders, the grandmother, and from what I get it from this, she probably knows the foster parents or the mum and dad. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I don't know if Kim knows the foster grandmother or the actual mother, the actual mum, grandmother. So that's another thing I thought that's interesting. So, and if she knows the whole 4 of them, let's say if she knows the foster mother and the grandmother and mum and dad and the foster mum and dad, so that's 6 of them, let's say. You think around that group, who else would she know? So, because she knows she would know the granddaughter and William too. So people's that outside, like I said, in a small country town, people know people, yeah. So that's interesting in itself. So the other thing is, she's outside of Kendall Street, outside of Kendall. It's 160 k's or something away from Kendall, so it's close but not close. Something like Western Sydney, something like that. So that's interesting. And Kim, like I said, Kim has a grey car. They was curious about this grey car, and it looks exactly like the car that is out there people are looking at. So that's another thing. Yeah, I went for that review. Now, this is useful information if you just want to know this. There's 26 countries in the world is helping with William's case. Just from Crime Stoppers, or I think it was Greg said this, he's getting information from America and see how they work with missing people. So there are countries out there helping us with this thing. So that's quite useful. I did talk about that with the toys. Now there's a lake called Lake Board. I'm putting that out there because you just don't know where William is. I mean, it could be between Kendall, Kendall Street to, Kendall Road to like would it could be any he could be anywhere. Had one of the fears was that was a person took him and he murdered William, and he put him around this lake and near a bridge. That's one of the theories they got up there, so I thought that's interesting. And that's pretty much it. The other thing, DHS, I was going to talk to you about DHS. Now, DHS, they didn't want anyone to know about William foster care. I thought this is interesting because this is interesting in the sense of if it was me involved in DHS, I would try to help them the police as much as I can, because you're dealing with someone who went missing, and if it's in your area of DHS, you want to do it in the right way too. Like, you really do want to do it in the right way, because so doesn't matter where it is, it's DHS, and this is with all services. You always have a bad egg in the group. You could do it with disability, police, nurses, the government. It's always a bad egg in it. But you really do need to home pin on the person, yeah. And it's always best to go, especially with DHS, it's always best to go by the procedures. One, because if you get caught out, you get in trouble. But two, if you say, I'm going to just use this as a sample. I'm not going to say it was them, but I'm just going to use this as a sample. Say it was mum and dad. Now, we all know dad had a violent history, yeah? So imagine if dad took William. You're dealing with a whole heap of information, a whole heap of problems. Like, was he sober? He has that mind there when he took him? And if he didn't, how are we going to deal with it? Is it related to drugs and alcohol, or is it a mental thing? So there's a lot of theories behind that. When you're dealing with someone who goes missing, there's a whole heap of theories behind that. And the thing is too, like I said, like, I'm not saying it was him, and I'm not going to say it was mum and dad, because I don't know. But one of the things is with DHS and the foster parents and the parents, who did they know? Did they know each other? You know, this whole thing. And I'm putting that out there because it helps with the whole case. Like, say if like it was the foster parents thing. Who in Kansas Street do you don't know? And like, for example, with the sex offenders people, I would look at it and say, when did people know about this situation? How did they know about these sex offenders? Did they know it right from the start of the whole situation, or did they know this afterwards? To me, that would make a huge difference. The reason why it would make a huge difference, at the start, you know it's happening, so you kind of home pin on them. But if it's halfway through it and someone just realised there's a whole heap of sex offenders, people just home pin to them. Because 90% of people out in the world, yeah, and I get it, don't like sex offenders, because they repeat themselves during the whole thing. But granted, there are a percent there out there who will try not to do it again, and that's the thing. Like, but you want to home pin on the right people, yeah. You don't want to home pin on the wrong people. And this is the other thing. I look at it like, yes, there's a whole heap of sex offenders and this and that, but has anyone really looked at the parents? Like, really looked at the parents? And I'm not saying it's the parents, I'm not going to say that, but they've done things too, you know, And this is why I'm looking at it and thinking, it's almost like, because it's the parents that can't do it. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not saying it's them, but that's realistic about it. I know people out there who had issues with their relationships, their partners, their sisters, their brothers, auntie and uncles, been through a legal thing. And yeah, so I know it happens. But saying that too, sex offenders will repeat themselves to 90% of them would. So that's the thing you have to look at. Um, when did they know about these sex offenders? Did they always know they were there? And it was just unlucky that we went missing and there's this home pinning on them? Or did they know halfway through it and let's blame it on them? And they were thinking, let's try and get rid of them at the start. So you had to look at that too. So the other thing, like I said, I wonder if the parents, no, the foster parents, in saying that, like I said, in the last one, when you watch the thing on the foster parents where their faces are covered, I think it's a police one, you look at the shade. I was going to call it the shade because you don't actually see them, but you look at the mother's hair and the foster mother's hair. They're very similar. The boys is very similar, so that's quite an interesting thing I've watched myself too. So, and if I sound like I'm blaming the parents, I'm not. I have to say I'm not blaming the parents. I'm just looking at it in all angles here. Like I said, there are things here you're not going to agree with me. I'm okay with it. It's just my opinions, other people's opinion. This ideas that you can look at, yeah. So there are certain things I've got here, and one of the things I've got is the McDonald's picture. It's a thing across YouTube about a picture with William. I think it's he's on Dad's shoulder, the foster dad's shoulder, and that one say he's on standing on the floor at the counter at McDonald's. Now, this one is meant to be taken 2 days before being went missing, and people think that was taken on the way to the foster parents' house. Unless someone's lying, I'll say unless someone's lying, I don't know who it would be. It can't be that, because they left. I'll work this out later. They left the night before the 12th, the day before the 12th. I can't remember the time, but it took them 4 hours to get to the grandparents' house. Unless someone's lying, it doesn't make sense, because it was 2 days before they got to the grandparents' house. The foster parents left the day before, so I want to put that in there. So that's one thing I'm questioning about McDonald's picture. Did they took it on the day they left and it's got mixed up? So I've got I wonder if it's all about that. Like I said, I wanted mum and dad, foster parents and the parents knew each other, and how much do they know everything about each other? It's kind of thing, are they friends kind of thing. The other thing was the foster parent talked to someone about if they're going down to grandparents' house. Just because the food in this the meant to go a couple of days after they left to go to the grandparents' house, like on a Saturday or something, Saturday or Sunday, but the parents thought we go a bit earlier, so and they had to change the appointment with this. So because of that, I wonder if they'd talk to someone about, we changed this time, we're going to go on this time, and somehow know that the grandma was going to be there, because that's important. You don't want to take 4 hours down to a place and know the person you want to see it's not there. So I wanted to talk to someone about that, and who it was. Secondly, did sister see something? Like, I'm thinking, like, she's 4 years old. She's at the kind of age where we remember certain things, and I thought that's interesting to know. And the $1 million, yes, you'll know, I'm quite interested in the sense of no one came forward to it. But the other thing with this $1 million, with some of the question, like the sister with having the problem with her brother, I think it was Deb and Tony Jones. I wonder when some of these questions was passed on to, like the information about Tony Jones, was this before the $1 million or after the $1 million? That kind of stuff. Yeah, so I thought certain things that like it'd be interesting, like the car. Was the cars being cited after the $1 million was told or before the $1 million was told? Because that would make a lot of difference. I reckon it does. And did the public know about the sex offender people? And are they connected to grandparents as parents group in one way or another? Because sex offenders and all them kind of people are connected to Salvation Army. They do a lot with people who have been in jail for a while for one reason or another. And not always sex offenders, it's other things like breaking an entry and all that kind of thing too. So the Salvation do a lot with people who've been in jail. So yeah, so I'm wondering that too, like, did the public know about it? Is there somewhere like a Salvation Army there? And did it with this service, where I know who came in and sang for the service of Salvation Army, was it something like that? So I wonder if they knew about it, and if they didn't know about it, like the interviews, the sex offenders, the ring and all that, who leaked it out in the public? Was it a police officer? Or was it someone who connected to the group? Well, this is not good, let's report it. And when did they report it? Was this before or after the $1 million awards were told? So these are the things I look at it, and I'm thinking, well, it does make a big difference from why you doing it. Like, are you trying to get rid of a group? Are you really trying to help them? So that's how I look at it. Secondly, like I said, there's a lot of blind spots around the house. There's a lot of trees around. You're not always going to see a person or a car. It's just, if you look at it on YouTube or the internet, and if you can get the address and just look at the whole block, it's quite interesting. It's a lot of trees around, so people can hide there, like really hide there. Like I said, the house behind the house, where we got kidnapped, missing, no one was there. It's a vacant block there with just trees. They could have took room there, so that's an interesting thing. And if did a person know about that? Like, is it a local person who know about that? So that's interesting too. The other thing with William too, I wonder if the foster parents told him about safety. The only reason I'm putting this out there, because from the history of mum and dad, you will want to know a bit, tell your son a bit about the safety thing. If you see a stranger, this is what happens, especially you know it's not going to be mum and dad kind of take him, but you know, not they'll go in the car and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to talk about safety in that situation. Um, and like I said again, when did we went into foster care? Because it's a good 6 months there that could something happen. Yeah, I'm just thinking about that. Um, I think oh yeah, there's a guy out there who, like I said, he had a his folder. He helped. I think it's the ESC. I think it's called. It's a organisation help with like breaking into cars when it's in danger and all that. Helps with settling. I mean, so help with the fire drives, ambulance and that. There was a guy there who his hands was folded, and a lady took a photo of him because he looked a bit fishy. And I thought I need to put that in there. I forgot about that one. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, the police officer. There's a police officer where he went into a street and his mum lived there. And yes, we know about that bit, but I wonder, because this would make a huge difference, I reckon. Does the police live in that town? Because I'm saying that Hardy is saying this right for a reason, because it makes a huge difference. Like, if you know everyone, I think your case would be hard to solve. I mean, hard to move the case, because you have already got through the wars people. It doesn't matter if the person's sex offender or the foster mum or whatever. You have, you know a bit about these people. Especially with the sex offender people, you know histories about them because you work in the field, you can just look these up on the computer and all that. So you know things about these people. And just when you work in a place where it has 8 to 1,200 people, it makes a huge difference. So I'm hoping it was police outside of Kendall who did this case just to help the whole situation, because it's easier for someone to walk into a situation and doesn't know anything, or someone like him that she knows everyone, she's friendly with everyone. It's a bit more easier. And with her case, because she's friendly with everyone, if she was a cop, she probably would find it hard to arrest someone. And that's why I'm putting that out there. So I'm hoping whoever's working on this case is someone outside of Kendall, and I thought that's probably a good one to look into it. And that's the end of this. It's probably the end of the whole thing to, I'll say, March. Like I said, March, they're going back to court and seeing if they get more information related to this case or new leads into this case. From what I gathered, the guy who's like he's the lawyer, I mean he's the judge. Sorry, he's the judge. Sound like it would go on because he said one of the things they wanted to look into is if he's still alive, and was this an accidentally or did someone take him? From what I get from this judge, he feels someone took him, and he said there's no proof that he's alive, but there's no proof that he's dead either. So from what I get it will keep on going. But with this, the guy who got arrested, the police officer, Greg, I think his name, Gary, Greg, I think his name is, he was taken off the case, he's retired, and he got charged for things he done related to the women case story. And then in that in itself, 1 minute it's related to the case, he got charged, or it's not related to into the case. So that's another fishy thing about this whole thing. But like I said, it's not about the blaming game. It's just ideas that put it out there and it might help with the case. It's not about the $1,000,000 and it's not about me having a 5-minute fame. It's about helping a young boy who went missing, and it's kind of like I'm being an advocacy for him because I really don't know who took him. I have, like I said, at the third one into this, I got a psychic theory in it and my theory in it, but they're just theories. I could be wrong about the psychic side of it. Who knows? We won't know till later on in the future if they find William alive or dead. Doesn't matter. Hopefully he's alive. But there are just theories, and when the court comes back later to William, I might have some more information, so I might be able to go back on YouTube and tell you a bit more about it. But that's as far I got to with this. Like I said, this took me days and days, and as you can see, it's been over 2 to 3 hours to do this whole thing. So if it's useful, and if you don't know anything about this, you think someone might, pass it on to that person. And if you or someone knows anything about this case and you think it might be useful for the police to know, pass it on to them. It's important that get the right information out there, not phony stuff. Yes, it's okay to have opinions, but is that opinion helping move the case? Think about it in that sense. Is it helping move the case? Don't say someone in Melbourne did it, unless you know that person was in the Kendall town at that time. Make it really clear that yes, this person was there. You make sure, alright? Don't just spread rumours because you can't spread rumours. And like I said, with media, I don't believe in everything here. A perfect sample, there's a thing out there, the theories, being was taken from Bigfoot. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, so think about it. And the other thing is, as a psychic and a person who knows I can be wrong, look at that properly too. Like, don't, because the psychic says bringing one away doesn't mean bringing van away. Really look at that information too and why they're doing it. Okay, is it more because they want that 5-minute fame, or is it more that that person does want to help William? So that's important too. So don't believe in everything that you hear. Okay, if it makes sense, probably is right. If it doesn't make sense, it's probably not right. Yeah. So I'm gonna leave it at this stage, and I might do a bit more on it. Who knows, in the next few months. And like I said, if you have information, pass it on. I was gonna leave a whole heap of places you can look at, but honestly, I just got like, I think it's 30 YouTube people just on my YouTube, on my thing, so it's a whole heap of stuff related to William. I would highly recommend watching the current affairs, the news stuff, Four Corners first. A lot of it's might not be true, but it makes sense. It makes you think about it, yeah. So that's a good thing. And they do double tick themselves. Like I said, this thing with Bill Spencer. 1 minute he kidnapped him. Next minute him and his wife ran out of William. No, trying to cover it. So look at it in that way too. Yeah. So look at it. Think about it. If you have information, pass it on. Yeah, and that's it. Hope it's useful. I'll see you later. Bye.